Well, today was the deadline for Ripple to fire back at the SEC in their opposition against the SEC's opposition to subpoena and deposition William Hinman. And what they filed is full of all kinds of good details, but it really outlines how much doublespeak and how much the SEC really has either no idea what the left hand and what the right hand are actually doing, or they're just flat out lying. So Attorney Jeremy has an opinion on whether or not Ripple's attorneys will actually get to depose and interview William Hinman, because there's a lot of interesting questions that they're going to ask. And in crypto news, even more Bitcoin ETFs were just filed. And the latest ones I'm going to talk about are interesting. Not only that, Germany just announced today that they have passed a law through their government to allow hundreds of billions of dollars to be poured into crypto assets. So we're going to talk about what that is going to mean in this video. Hey everyone, welcome back to the Late Night Grind. On this channel, I'm covering the Ripple versus SEC lawsuit case, as well as other cryptocurrency news, investment markets, and personal finance. So if any of those topics interest you and you're new to the channel, go ahead, click the subscribe button, hit the bell notification icon, and then if you're feeling generous, I'd really appreciate it if you hit the thumbs up button. It really helps out with a YouTube channel like this, and I'm not just saying that, it really does help out. All your comments, your thumbs up, it really helps out with the channel. And I just wanted to take a second right now to thank you for all the subscribers that watch these videos on pretty much a daily basis. You guys have really stuck with me. Some of you have been around since I started putting videos out back in December, covering a lot of the stimulus news. So a big thank you to all of you, because I just passed 50,000 subscribers today on the Late Night Grind channel. And I'm not just saying this, I really honestly did not think that the channel would grow as quickly as it did. You guys have done a fantastic job of supporting myself and this channel, and I just would say thank you so much, and please continue to do so. You can always do that, like I said, just by simply giving a big thumbs up. Leaving a comment also helps, and participating in the polls. And if you haven't done that recently, if you go to the community tab on this channel, I put out polls pretty regularly to see what members of the Late Night Grind community actually think about different topics. So I know that was a long-winded intro, but again, I just wanted to say a big thank you. Next stop, 100K. And with that, let's get into it. So first, let's get into some Bitcoin news, because recently there's been some articles about talking about the price of Bitcoin and why it rose so much over the winter, and why it's, well, where it's at now. One of those stories is because of an extremely large buyer of Bitcoin, which was the Grayscale Trust. And this has been covered by a lot of other YouTubers, so I'm not going to cover it too much. But basically what they did was essentially start a trust where people get exposure to Bitcoin by locking, and when they put money into a Grayscale Trust, that trust was essentially locked up for a rolling 6-month period. And what they've been saying is that, well, those lockups are going to start to unlock, and it's going to provide even more liquidity for Bitcoin and thus drive the price down or let the price fall. But that's not exactly true. In fact, it's not really true at all, because the Bitcoins weren't locked up, just the shares in the Grayscale Trust. And it's not going to happen all at once. It's basically going to happen on a rolling average. But here's the thing. There have now been 12 filings for Bitcoin ETFs across the market just in the last couple of months. So anything that might happen with the Grayscale Trust is just going to get buoyed by all these new ETFs that will probably, well, at least some of them will get approved. Now, the most recent one is from Australia. Another one is from Ark Invest, which is a hedge fund in the United States, which is very, very crypto heavy. You may know Cathie. She's on all kinds of YouTube videos giving interviews and her thoughts on Bitcoin and the crypto space. They actually filed for a Bitcoin ETF. It will be known as ARK. And on the heels of that news, Germany just announced that they passed a law that will allow up to 20% of Germany's portfolio to be allocated into crypto assets. It basically amounts to over $415 billion that, as soon as Thursday, could start to be allotted into the crypto space. That is a massive amount of money. Even Michael Saylor can't hold a candle to that. Okay, so now let's get into the XRP battle with the SEC. Today was July 1st. It was basically the deadline for Ripple to fire back in their motion against the SEC's motion against Ripple's motion to depose William Hinman. William Hinman was one of the heads of the SEC that brought the lawsuit case against Ripple back in December. And in Ripple's response today, they basically laid out all the things that showed that the SEC really, they either have no idea what they're talking about, or they're just flat out lying. They're basically just handing the SEC shovels and letting the SEC dig their own grave, as attorney Jeremy Hogan has once put it. Now in this, they actually outlined what the SEC's been saying and how it's basically contrary to what they're actually doing. So basically what the SEC is saying is, we don't want you to depose William Hinman because that speech he gave about Ethereum is not a security. It was his own personal views. It doesn't reflect the SEC. The SEC hasn't made any decisions on Ethereum. Technically and officially, heads up Ethereum holders. But in Ripple's response, they actually outlined what the SEC actually did when William Hinman gave that speech. So I'm just going to read a little bit from that, which basically says, then Chairman Jay Clayton, who was the head of the SEC at the time, sent Hinman's speech to Congress to demonstrate that the commission had been transparent with the criteria used to determine whether a digital asset is offered or sold as an investment contract. See example 5, Jay Clayton, Chairman SEC, to Ted Budd, U.S. House of Representatives, on May 7, 2019, and in response to public inquiries as to whether XRP was a security, the agent's Office of Investor Education and Advocacy routinely referred inquirers to the speech as a, and then it's redacted, we don't get to see what it says. The SEC also posted William Hinman's speech on its website, where it's hosted along with other speeches and addresses called The State of the Markets and the Commission's Regulatory Agenda. So the SEC says, well, what William Hinman actually said is his own personal views and doesn't really have anything to do with the SEC. But then the SEC hosted the speech on their website and said this is part of their agenda. So you can kind of see where Ripple's going with this and basically handing the shovels directly to the SEC. What's interesting of note also is that Attorney Jeremy, who on Twitter responded to James K. Filan, who posted this, who actually posted the motion for everybody to read, said that shortly after Hinman gave that speech, he actually spoke at Ethereum's Foundation and Consensus shortly after he made that speech, and then followed it up with, man, I can't wait to hear that deposition. Now the judge is going to have to rule on this case. The SEC now has basically a week to respond to Ripple's response before the judge actually has to make a decision on things, which she may take even a couple of more weeks to actually make that decision. So we have some time. Jeremy Hogan believes that Judge Netburn will grant the deposition to Ripple simply because their case is being made for them by all the doublespeak, and basically everything that the SEC tried to outline is why they shouldn't be able to depose William Hinman. It just doesn't make sense. So if keeping up with that part of the process interests you, definitely subscribe to this channel and hit that bell notification icon so you'll know when I release a video talking about that. And once again, I really appreciate you guys watching all the way to the end. Like I said, if you're new to this channel, I'd appreciate if you subscribe. I cover not just Ripple versus the SEC, even though that's mostly what I'm covering right now, but other cryptocurrency news as well. So once again, thanks for watching all the way to the end. Thanks for giving it a big thumbs up. Thank you so much for 50,000 subscribers. And if you want to get caught up on a few things, watch these videos that are being posted right here that YouTube thinks you'd be interested in. All right, guys, I'll see you on the next video.